What's up, guys? King Richard here, the King of Sorcs, bringing you my 1.6 Sorcerer build video. This is a really good build. It's based on my previous build from 1.4, I believe, is when I posted that build. It's taking the fundamentals of that build and basically building on that with the tweaks that came to 1.6 and just making the build all around better in every way, shape, and form. It is a really good build. I love it so far. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm able to do exactly what I want to be able to do, which is do small scale PvP, 1v1, 1vx, and I like to do that at a consistent high level. So this build allows me to do that. So let's go ahead and get into it and help you other sorcerers get a template and a nice build to work on, because I know a lot of you guys didn't get the chance to test on 1.6, so you're really like caught out in the open with this update. So basically, if you use or if you take things from this build or if you use this build, you'll get to see that sorcerers are not completely nerfed like everyone would have you believe. People need to think outside the box and start doing things differently with their build and stop going for what they believe is just the easiest thing to do. I like to make builds that take a little bit of skill to play, but at the same time they give me an advantage over my opponents, and with this build you could pretty much do that. So let's go ahead and hop on into it. I am a red guard. I put all 62 of my points into Magicka, and I'm a vampire, and I'm using the Mundus Stone, the tower, which gives me maximum stamina. So this Mundus Stone, along with my red guard passives, gives me 15k max stamina, 600 stamina recovery outside of combat, and that goes up by 9% inside combat due to my red guard racial passive. So I went 62 points into Magicka. Like I said, this is going to allow you to balance out your stats. So basically you get 21k health, 25k Magicka, 15k stamina, and that's really balanced for 1.6. And you guys will see in the videos that I show at the end of this build video how this build works in action and exactly what you can do with it. So let's go ahead and hop on over to my gear sets. I'm using 5-piece Warlock. I have each of my accessories enchanted with spell reduction. This is going to help with your Magicka sustain. Don't worry about your weapons. I am using Resto staff and Destro staff, but as far as weapons are concerned or set bonuses, I don't have anything on these. I actually want to get master weapons, but I'm just using what I have because this is a really early video and I'm still tweaking and making this build better as I go. So 5-piece of Warlock, I'm running 5-piece light armor, 1-piece heavy, 1-piece medium. I'll go into why I'm doing that in a second. Also, I'm using 2 pieces of the Warlock set on my body, which is head and hands, and I'm running the white Strakes set. So pretty much this is an all-around set that's really good, and it's going to help you be tankier if used right a lot of the times. I mean, of course, you know, it doesn't make you unkillable, but it does help with your survivability and sustain a lot. You don't have to CC break as much because you know what you can take. You know you can take more of a beating than what you really would if you didn't have this set on. So it helps you maintain your stamina, it helps you maintain your Magicka, and it keeps you alive. So this is a really good set. I'm running 5 pieces of light armor. Most of it is enchanted with Magicka. I have pieces enchanted with stamina, and I have a piece enchanted with health. You can mix the enchantments up however you want, but that just balances my stats out, as you can see in a stat menu. It gives me a really good balance between health, Magicka, and stamina, and I really like to be balanced. I'm running 5 light, 1 heavy, 1 medium. The reason why I'm doing that is because of this passive right here in the Undaunted called Undaunted Metal. So it increases your max health, stamina, and Magicka by 2% per type of armor. So if you have one of each type of armor, which is heavy, light, and medium, you get a total bonus of 6% max health, stamina, and Magicka. So that's going to help you. That's going to help you round off your stats, and you know you'll start looking like this if you do that. So okay, I'm getting attacked. I guess I'll just have to kill him and then put this in the build video. This is just hilarious. He's a DK, reflective scales. So that DK pretty much is trying to figure out what to do with his light armor build. A lot of people are struggling, but as you can see, that didn't work on me. Now back to the build video. All my armor sets are, the trait that I'm running on them is reinforce. This is going to help put your armor and spell resistance pretty high. I'm in light armor and base I have 7,930. If I pop immovable, that brings my armor to 13,000, which is pretty much what you would get based in heavy armor. So for being in light armor, I have the armor of somebody in heavy armor and the spell resistance of somebody in heavy armor, which is really good for people who snipe or stamina builds. It negates a lot of the damage. So that's pretty much my armor sets, my traits, and enchantments. Let's hop on over to the skills. My number one ability is Evil Hunter. I'm using this to get stamina back mainly, and it also boosts your damage and gives you a little bit of a burst when it procs on Undead and Daedra, and it also has a 4% chance to proc on regular people now also. So this is a good buff. I keep this on at all times. My number 2 ability is Ball of Lightning. Against people like that, Destro Staff DK, Ball of Lightning gives you the ability to basically mitigate a lot of damage. And this build is all about mitigating damage. It's all about surviving. It's all about being tanky and letting your opponent, you know, think that they have you, buff up, switch to your DPS bar, and then blow them up when they're out of resources. So that's why I'm using Ball of Lightning. My number 3 ability is Healing Ward. This ability is your main heal, and it's another damage shield. I only use this when I get low on health, because the lower your health is, the better the shield is. Base shield is 3k, but it goes up to 300%, so you basically can get a 10k damage shield if you use this ability correctly. My number 4 ability, Immovable Brute. You get a 4% bonus to CC breaking on your Resto bar. This is good because I usually run or I kite away or play defensively with my Resto bar. So a lot of the times I get knocked down with this Resto bar on, and I can CC break and it reduces the cost. 4% might not seem like a lot, but the way that stamina management is and stamina recovery is in 1.6, 4% is a big bonus. And it also, when you use it, it gives you an immunity to knockback and CC effects, and it also boosts your spell resistance and armor by 5,000. So this is going to put you basically in heavy armor just from having this on, and give you a bonus to CC breaking. So this is a really good ability. I swap this out sometimes for other abilities, but most of the time I keep this on because it helps in 1vx. My number 5 ability is Hardened Ward. This is the main damage shield for sorcerers. It's a 7k damage shield base, and it basically goes up to a 10k damage shield with the morph that I have, because it gives me a 33% bonus. So yeah, this is a really good damage shield, and when you use this bar correctly, you are really hard to kill, and you can turn the tide really fast because it gives you really good defense and damage mitigation. The ultimate I'm using is Clouding Swarm. This ultimate is really cheap for me. I get it left and right. It does 2k damage per tick for 5 seconds. So basically you get 10k damage for 5 seconds. And it also gives you invisibility. So it also makes you a harder target to hit, basically mitigating more damage. This build is all about damage mitigation and light armor. So I'm not blocking to mitigate damage. I'm just mixing and matching all my abilities together, and I'm using them in a skillful way to mitigate damage and to be tanky. So this is how I'm making this light armor build work. These defensive bar. You need to master this to make this build work. And then once you master your defensive abilities, then you'll know how to swap between your defensive abilities and offensive abilities consistently and do a lot of damage. I'm running Meteor here. Sometimes I just slot Flawless Dawnbreaker because I like to execute people with Flawless Dawnbreaker. So I'm basically running Meteor because I'm leveling it up. It's really powerful and a lot of people are using it, so I figured I might as well level it up. So I had Meteor there, but I usually slot Flawless Dawnbreaker because it's going to boost the damage of Crushing Shocks. Because Crushing Shock is your main DPS ability besides these other abilities that are used for burst. So my number one ability is Crushing Shock. This is a good interrupt. I really love having this ability, especially against Templars who use Radiant Destruction. Radiant Destruction is overpowered and it needs to be nerfed. I have a V14 Templar. I haven't even hopped on it yet, but a friend of mine has a V6 Templar. We played PvP together and Radiant Destruction just literally destroys everything. So this ability is going to shut down Radiant Destruction, because if you take the risk of using that ability on me and I catch you with a Crushing Shot and my Crystal Fragment procs while I have a Velocious Curse on you, you could pretty much get ready to press the E button because you're going to be taking a walk of shame. So Velocious Curse is a really good Crushing Shock is a really good ability. You want to keep this on. Deadric Minefield. This is a really good ability for keeping people off you and mitigating damage. If people can't hit you, or melee classes can't hit you like DKs, you pretty much mitigate damage. So this is also a defensive ability, but at the same time, if somebody rushes in while you have a Velocious Curse on and they hit those mines and you can get a nice burst with a light attack, Crushing Shock, and Endless Fury or Crystal Fragment, you can really blow people up. So this is a really good defensive ability. I sometimes swap this out for other abilities depending on what I have here. If I put something else in this slot for immovable, then I usually go with Boundless Storm here, because that's going to give me that armor bonus that I need to feel like I'm in heavy armor even though I'm in light. So this is a swappable ability here. Number 3, Crystal Fragments is your main CC ability, your main knockdown ability. So you want to pretty much use Crystal Fragments as a CC and burst DPS. It's really good. You don't want to hard cast this or spam cast this in people's face. You get much better damage by light attack and a Crushing Shock. You want to use this as a burst. So like I said, you put Velocious Curse on somebody, a few Crushing Shocks, you get their stamina down, they're not blocking. Crystal Fragment, this blows up, and then you can execute. It usually works like that a lot of the time. My number 4 ability is Mage's Wrath. This is a good ability. This is an execute. So you want to put this on people when they're around, I say 30% health, or maybe 40% health, depending on how good you are at bursting. And then if you get a good enough burst off, this will blow up when the target drops below 20% health, and it does 4,682 damage. Now, I'm not running spell damage or spell crit or anything. I'm just base as far as damage is concerned. I'm really focusing on out-sustaining my opponent, when they're low, I can burst. But this isn't the highest damage I've seen on Endless Fury. You can get this to do a lot more damage if you wanted to. So like I said, you can tweak this build however you want. I'm just giving you guys a basis and a template to work off of, because I don't want anybody to feel like sorcerers are nerfed, because I've been hearing the same thing, and I actually believed it myself, and I felt like sorcerer was just pretty much done with all the nerfs and stuff and the changes that they did to sorcerers, but that's not the case. So moving on, my number 5 ability is Velocious Curse. This is your main DPS. Regardless of what anybody says, this is one of Sorc's best abilities. I never take this off my bar. You can use this to catch Nightblades that like the stealth. You can't block it, so the damage is guaranteed. So if you're running up against somebody like that DK that I fought not too long ago, who perma blocks, then you're going to be able to get good enough damage in on him to make him blow through his resources trying to heal with just this ability right here. So Velocious Curse is a good ability. Keep this on your target every 3.5 seconds. I like to cast this ability as it's blowing up, so it'll be on you again. So Velocious Curse, must keep ability. I really love it. And onto my ultimate, like I said, Flawless Dawnbreaker. This is an instacast DPS ability. It's a cone area ability, so it basically attacks in the triangle in front of you, so you can hit multiple people with it. And I use this as an executioner, so it deals 4,969 magic damage to enemies in front of you, and an additional 5,619 magic damage over 6 seconds. So not only does it do damage straight up, it does dot damage over time. So this ability right here is really underrated. A lot of people don't use it. A lot of people just slide it to boost crushing shots, but I actually use this ability. It's really good for an ultimate, and it looks cool because you pull a sword out of the air and you smash it on somebody's face. So this is a really good ability. I like to keep this here, but if I did swap it out for anything, it would be Meteor. It also does 60% bonus damage against Daedra and Undead. Like I said, this build is the Vampire Hunter build, aka the Blade build. So you're going to be playing this build as a vampire, but you're going to be exposing other vampires and other undead's weaknesses. Even though you have those same weaknesses also, this build exposes others better than they can you. So this ability also gives you an 8% weapon damage increase when it's slotted. So that's going to boost Crushing Shock if I haven't already said that. I have all the passives in Fighters Guild besides Bounty. I have all my Mages Guild passives just in case I swap out Mage Guild abilities. I want the bonuses. All my Undaunted passives. All my Ratios. All my Assault. All my Emperor and former Emperor passives, all my support passives, all my class passives, all my Daedric summoning, all my storm calling, all my weapon for Destro staff and Resto staff, all my armor, light, medium, and heavy, because you will be running 5-piece light, 1-piece heavy, 1-piece medium, so you want to get whatever bonuses you can from your passives. I am a vampire. Clouding Swarm is a really good alt. You want to run all your passes from vampire, and that is pretty much the build. I will not be going over what I did in the champion system. I think that ZeniMax put the champion system here so that people can find a level of uniqueness and tweak their character, and even though they may be running the same build as somebody else, the champion system setup may make you completely different. So I'm not going to go into the champion system. Right now we're going to go ahead and hop into a couple clips. These clips were before I actually recrafted my gear. This is new gear, but the clips are from 1.6. But this gear that I have on is actually better than what I have in the clips. But from what you see in the clips, you'll be able to see what you'll be able to do with this build. And once you get these gear sets and you get everything crafted up correctly, you'll be even better than what you see me doing in those clips. So if you guys like this video, you find it useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and stay tuned for more great Sorc videos in the future. Thanks for watching. Peace.